Okay, after stretching, now let's shrink. Okay, now shrinking is the opposite of stretching. Okay, so so we stretch a point, we also shrink a point. Now, so let's study how to shrink a point given a factor. So let's use an example, one third. Say for example your factor is one third. So say for example this is your point. Okay, this is your point. So you still look for the distance, okay, the distance from your point to the x-axis, or actually from the x-axis to your point. Okay, now you're going to shrink it, meaning to say you're going to make it closer to the x-axis. You're going to push it, shrink it, push it in this direction. Okay, so if your point is above the x-axis, it will go closer on top of the x-axis. If it is here, it will go closer below the x-axis. Now, since our factor is one third, it's easier to cut into one third, okay, when the number of units is divisible by 3, which is in this case divisible by 3 because this is 1, 2, 3 points, 3 units away from the x-axis. So now we divide, or we multiply by one third, or we divide by 3. So if I'm going to shrink this distance, okay, from the x to the point by a factor of one third, where will the new point be? Okay, try to answer that. Okay, maybe you're right. It will be here, right? Because 3 times one third is 1. Or you just divide this by 3, this distance, okay? Since it is divisible by 3, it's easy. What about if it is on 4? Let's just say, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's say our point is here. How are you going to shrink that by a factor of one third? So if you're good with calculating distances, then you could see, how will I divide this much? How will I divide 4 into 3? Okay, so that will be what? 1 and one third, right? Okay, so if I divide this 1, 2, 3, and then I have to divide that distance by 3, so it will be 1 and one third, right? So 1 and one third, and then 2 and 2/3, so it will be here. Or you could just divide 4 by 3. Okay, so 4, again, this is distance 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Divide that by 3, or multiply that by one third. Okay, let me show you that. So if you have 4 times one third, okay, so that would be 4 thirds, or 1 and one third. So that will be where our new point will be, 1 and one third. Okay, that is how you shrink by one third. Okay, what about if it is, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, let's say this is your point, 6. So you divide that by 3. 6 divided by, or 6 times one third is 2. Okay, so here, 1, 2, 3. You divided 6 by 3. Okay, so now it is closer to the x-axis. Okay. Okay, what about if your point is at point 1? Let's say here 1. So where will be? So divide that by 3. So it will be here, your new point. Divide 1 by 3. Okay, just approximate it. If it is below the x-axis, it's the same thing. Okay, so let's say 1, 2, 3. Let's say we have the point -2, -3. Where will be our new point if we shrink it by a factor of one third? So we will pull it closer to the x-axis at the bottom. So it will be here, 3 divided by 3. Okay, there. So that's how you shrink it. Okay, and let's have one more last. So let's say you have um, you have um, 2. Let's just say 2. Did we already do 2? Okay, 2 here at the bottom. So divide that by 3. 1, 2, divide by 3. So 2/3, right? 2 divided by 3 is 2/3. So 2/3 is somewhere here. Is that clear? Okay, so you can also do that. Let's say negative 2 times 1/3 is negative 2/3. You just multiply that by 1/3. Okay, all right. So can you try to do this? I'm only going to give one example. Okay, try to do this one here. Okay, try to write all the transformation and draw each transformation, and I'll see you in the next video.